Bloomberg Intelligence has been crunching the numbers and saying that falling sales for state-owned developers could be a warning that the tentacles of China's property crisis are starting to engulf some of the stronger names. For more, let's bring in our Bloomberg Intelligence China property analyst, Kristy Hung. Tell us more about the issues at play still.
Right, so we've been seeing weaker sales from state-owned developers, and that is raising the question on whether the property crisis is starting to engulf the stronger names with state-owned background. So in 2023, we see that state-owned developers, they consistently, their sales growth would outperform the sector average. But in just the first quarter this year, we see a lot of state-owned names that they're having steeper sales decline than the sector average. And I think that draws our attention to the problem where we used to have a problem of buyers avoiding private developers' pre-sold homes. But now that seems to be shifting to a problem of buyers avoiding buying any properties in general. And we have the Vanke's prices that's escalating. I think that would be another tipping point, lowering confidence on state-backed names. Yeah.
And it does underscore maybe that they might need to do more in terms of, if this spreads into SOE-backed and SOE, and two different things, right? What does this white paper now tell us about the potential funding gap that's needed or support from the government that's actually needed?
Right, so right now the weak confidence comes from buyers worrying about, pre-sold projects might not be completed, and the government is doing more in terms of, pushing out this white list, which is local authorities identifying property projects that are in need of funding to support their completion. And what we know so far is that there are around 6,000 projects that have been identified by local authorities. And if we assume an around 230 million yuan funding need per project, that would add up to around 1.4 trillion yuan financing needs that we need to complete the pre-sold projects in China. And bear in mind, this is just the first batch. A lot of cities are already pushing out the second batch, so the potential number would be bigger.
That's a huge number, right? Are the banks willing to support that?
Yes, so what we've seen so far is banks have been very selective. If we give you an example, there's a second-tier city called Kunming. It identified 212 projects on the whitelist. So far, what we know is only 2 projects have been able to secure funding. So banks have been selective. They want to find projects with cash recoverability and projects with ample collateral. So what we need now is that, for low-tier cities, we know that sell-through has been very difficult, and banks might not be willing to support those projects because we know that even if those projects complete, buyers might not be willing to buy them to generate enough cash flow to repay the debt.
All right, Kristy, thank you. Kristy Hung there from Bloomberg Intelligence, who covers China property for us.